Hello, this is Dane DiFebo, Museum Educator of the National Civil War Museum here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I bring to you this snapshot for January 2022, which is sponsored by UPMC Central Pennsylvania and the UPMC Health Plan. Today's snapshot will describe the political climate of 157 years ago in January 1865 as members of the Lincoln administration and the House of Representatives of the 38th United States Congress created a future without the legal practice of slavery in the United States. The 2012 film Lincoln certainly makes a convincing portrayal of January 1865 as one of the most pivotal months in the political history of the Civil War. And interestingly, most of the political action occurred in the last week of that month. In the last week of January, Jefferson Davis's administration appointed 3 Confederate commissioners, including Vice President Alexander Stephens, R.M.T. Hunter of Virginia, and former U.S. Supreme Court Justice John A. Campbell, with the purpose of negotiating peace with President Lincoln and U.S. Secretary of State William H. Seward at the steamboat River Queen near the Union-controlled Fort Monroe, Virginia. During the said Hampton Roads Conference, which did not occur until February 3, 1865, the ever so important adoption of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. House of Representatives on the last day of January 1865 provided Lincoln and Seward with a bargaining chip, which Seward used to encourage the readmission of the Confederate states on peaceful terms, and to also influence and potentially prevent this amendment's ratification by those said states. The 13th Amendment's text is simple and straightforward. Its 2 sections propose that neither slavery or involuntary servitude can be practiced except as a punishment for a convicted crime and within the United States, and that Congress shall enforce the prior article by appropriate legislation. The history of the amendment as a written document is linked to an initial proposal made by Ohio Republican Representative James Mitchell Ashley in December of 1863. The Senate initially passed the said amendment on April 8, 1864 by a vote of 38-6, with two Democrats voting for the amendment. 2 months later, on June 15, 1864, the House failed to pass the amendment, being short of the 2/3 vote needed for passage of the amendment. Abraham Lincoln's 1864 presidential platform resolved to abolish slavery by constitutional amendment, and following his re-election, he made the passage of the 13th Amendment his top legislative priority. He enlisted the support of Secretary of State William Seward and U.S. Representative John B. Alley of Massachusetts to round up and procure the votes of Democrats in support of an amendment, with promises and bribes being given to many of his targeted legislators. In mid-January 1865, Speaker of the House Schuyler Colfax estimated that the amendment would be 5 votes short of its passage, so a vote was postponed. Lincoln then intensified the push for the amendment, making direct emotional appeals to particular members of Congress. On January 31, 1865, 157 years ago, the House called another vote on the amendment, with neither side being certain of the outcome. With a total of 183 House members, 122 would have to vote for the affirmative to secure passage of the resolution. 8 Democrats abstained, reducing the number to 117. Every Republican, Independent Republican, and unconditional Unionist supported the measure, as well as 14 supported the resolution. The amendment passed by a vote of 119 to 56, narrowly reaching the required 2/3 majority by just 2 votes. The floor and galleries of the U.S. House soon broke into celebration, with some members openly weeping. African American onlookers who had only been allowed to attend congressional sessions since the previous year cheered from the galleries. By closely examining the political maneuvering of the very pivotal month of January 1865, it can be determined that the outcomes of these happenings were not clear-cut or inevitable. Uncertainty contributed to the Lincoln administration taking a diverse course of action and laying the groundwork for a peace that was yet to come. Thank you for listening to this National Civil War Museum snapshot about the political climate of the winter of 1865. Please subscribe to the museum's YouTube channel and view other videos like this. Thank you.